Hi Michigan Hoya Lovers. This is your promised packing video. It is my first video, so here goes. This is not going to be professional. We're just going to get started. I tried to, when I'm going to ship something, I try to kind of get everything I think I'm going to need in advance. And so I have lined up here along the edge of my kitchen table just sort of some rows of shipping tape, little strips of shipping tape, like so. And then I've got my box that you saw, which I estimated to be the right size because I placed everything in it in advance to see if it would fit. And then I've got my cuttings ready to go, freshly cut, and I'm also shipping a Hoya that is rooted. It's rooted in pine, or well, not exactly pine, but my little homemade Rocky mix that you guys see a lot of, and I like using a lot for rooting and sort of medium term growing. So that's what's going out today to Tammy. Hi, Tammy. And I also like to send, every time I ship any plants of any sort, I like to send them with tags so that they're not going through the box trying to remember what they ordered or what they traded for. And if any of them look remotely similar, there's going to be any guesswork, then the tag will go right on the wrapped Hoya. But in this case, she knows because one was something that she already had, the other's a lacanosa, and then the other was on a list. So they're on her card so that she can just pull it out and find the tags right away. But otherwise, I wrap them up in a little tube, or you can use brown parchment paper is really great in the summer and nice and breathable. And you can put the tag on the outside and it helps so that someone can orient what they're unwrapping. Like, oh, this is the top, this is the bottom, ta-da! And then they know, okay, I'm opening up a verticillata, and then there you go. So, all right, we're gonna wrap up the verticillata first because this is the trickiest and it's the largest. And for this swap, I'll just throw this right here in the video too. It's a Hoya swap. Generally, people will share cuttings, but there's no reason that it has to be cuttings. You can share and swap rooted Hoyas as well. You can share an entire giant, cost to find. That's perfectly fine. So whatever you feel comfortable trading, or not trading, but sharing and sending is fair game. So. I will show how I ship something that is in this kind of a contraption. I'm going to start by taking a little bit of this fluff. Everything that I'm using is reused, so I'm not using like any fancy branded materials. This is stuff that has come in the mail to me, and I just, instead of taking it, I didn't receive this in the mail today and say, oh, hey, look, there's a spider mite crawling on this. I think I'm gonna send it to Tammy this afternoon. I take it and put it someplace isolated where there's no plants around, and it sits there for a month, and then it can be, used where it's not near anything organic, and then it can ship back out. Okay. So, and I don't know if you saw, before I send this, I check and I look and make sure that all the roots that are sticking out around the side look good. And it's just because of the nature of this particular media, it's more wet than I would ship like something in bark, but it's nice and fresh and white all the way around and in good shape. So, all right, so like so, ta-da. And then I'm gonna stand up so you'll see the Hoya, but not my face, for a second. And I'm gonna use another box that is not my shipping box just to attempt to bring that up to you. There. Okay, now then you can use all manner of things to secure something like this. I will sometimes go around it with Scotch tape, and then I will use regular saran wrap. I have become a big fan of the press and seal. This is not reused, so I kind of fibbed there, but you get the idea. But in this case, I think what we'll do, because I am out of Scotch tape and I don't think that Tammy wants to pry shipping tape off of this, and because there's water involved, I'm gonna take my scissors, I'm gonna make a small strip of shipping tape just to secure the outside cup, the reservoir cup, to the net pot. So I'll cut this tape in half and make it Scotch tape width. Here, one to each, and then I will do the what is that called? Press and seal around each side. So we're going from the black net pot to the reservoir pot. And I doubt that there's going to be a ton of instances of shipping reservoir pots in this swap, but we're going to get to the part where we protect a stem in a minute, or a vine, so that might be more relevant for everyone. Okay, so we do that. Okay, and then I'm going to get a nice good piece of press and seal. Not a lot of science behind this method here. Okay. And then I'm going to come up. I've got a little dragonfly clip here. I took and I clipped the top. This is a real long stem. So I clipped the top of it down to the base. Because we're gonna put it in a tube, and I wanted to make it a little bit shorter. Okay, so there we go. I just put that over the entire top, like so. And there's the little clip with the vine. Okay, and then, is this the right tube? I got two of them out. Let me see if they're the same length. They're the same length. Okay. Reused, again, you can buy rolls of this, sheets of this, which I do when I'm going through enough of it. But then, yeah, so there you go. But again, craft paper is wonderful. It's not as firm, so it just kind of depends on what you're shipping and if you're shipping enough of it. But craft paper works wonderfully. Tissue paper, just something that will hold together a Hoya and polyfill, if that's the method that you choose to use. So normally I'm using a flat surface like my kitchen table. Right now we are improvising and I'm using a small box as my surface. So laying the corrugated down, and then I'm taking and putting a whole wad of this reused polyfill down on top of it. You can see that pretty well, I think. Sorry. There we go. Okay. And then I just lay the Hoya down in the center. Got to say, if you're shipping with a reservoir method, to empty any excess water out. It should be common sense, but or you would think it's common sense, but I just had this moment where I had to ask myself if I remembered to do it. All right, so I set this down all the way at the base, and the vine goes right to the top, which is why I folded it. So I'm gonna hold this up vertically so you can see what it looks like a little bit. And then I'm gonna lay a bunch more down on top, and it's gonna squish out on the top and bottom like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, which is good. You want it to just be, you know, in and around the leaves and the vine to protect all of that part when we wrap it up in a second here. So I'm taking my hands and making sure that it's underneath the leaves and inside the vine, any place vulnerable. And then down around the base of the cup. And then this would be the moment where if I wasn't doing a video, I would go, oh, I didn't cut any tape, and I would have to stop everything and like get some tape right now. So that is why preparing that in advance is doing yourself a favor. Okay. And I want a little more around my vine up at the top here. Okay, so now I roll. And I kind of push it in there as I go. And these always end up bigger and fluffier than I imagine, and sometimes I go for a bigger box than I thought I would. Kind of an overboxer. Okay, that's my overstuffed peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Okay. And a lot of people do these real pretty twine to tie them, colored cardboard, etc. And you can have lots of fun with it. As much fun with it as you like. This is the part where I kind of wreath stuff everything, make sure that it's all as protected as I want it to be. Kind of smushed around a little bit, which it doesn't usually do quite so much. It was just for you, I think. It slid up a bit. Here we go. Now we're in position. Okay, now I will take a larger piece of tape and put that over the top, and my pieces of tape are a little short for that. And a piece of paper or a cardboard over the top can also work, just so that it's ventilated and it doesn't stick to any vulnerable parts of the plant. And you do the same over the bottom, and then if you don't have a tag on there, it's nice to write which side is the top and which is the bottom. So I'm just going like this. And I'm going to do the same on the bottom. Sorry, my The 4-year-old had a little birthday party this weekend before the power outage. And the balloons are popping down. I put that up before the video, but it wants to be a part of things. There. So now before I forget what is the top and what is the bottom, I'll set that there. Grab my marker. Normally it's a large permanent, but this is what I have sitting here from the card. So I'm gonna make a little arrow and write top. And I'll write H, verticillata. Okay. All right, now the cuttings part. And I just have that here, I'll show you. Like, it's just set off to the side right now. I'm not doing any packing of the box yet. We'll do that all at once. Okay, so the cuttings part, you've got so much room for fun creativity here, and I pulled out a couple of different options for it. So, because I already played around in advance with what's going to fit in this particular box, and it's not a lot, I don't have room for what I normally use. So normally I would use one of these guys. I don't know if you guys buy the really good kiwis, the yellow kiwis that are sweet and amazing and delicious and should be all kiwis, but this is one of those containers. It's already got holes in it, and they're awesome for propagating and for shipping cuttings. And so normally I would use one of those if it fit in the box, but it does not, no big deal. So that's an option. If you have something like that, or really just any sort of takeout container, you can, even just smack a mailing label on one that is sturdy enough, but you need holes in there and it needs to be breathable. So I always end up sticking it inside another cardboard box with enough room that it can get some aeration. So that's one option. Something like that with a lid, or even like an orchid pot like this, you can make a little cover with some ceramic, put some polyfill over top after you put your damp sphagnum, or some damp coir in the bottom, some polyfill with over top of your cuttings, and a little saran wrap or press seal lid. So you've got lots of options, but what we're using today is this little guy, and I put holes in the lid already, and I soaked some cocoa chunks, small orchid bark, and size 3 perlite. It's just one of my mixes that I use for certain Hoyas that was ready to go because one of the cuttings that I'm sending has started to root already. And it's very sensitive and rot prone. It's a David Kamingii, and I don't want to send it in moss even for a day. So we're gonna send it in this along with this little echinosa, and it would have probably been fine in moss, but I'm just not gonna do it. And this will be fine too. It's very soft. It's you can use all kinds of things. So anyhow, this little guy already soaked. I'm gonna place the David Kamingii first, and it'll get a little bit of steam in there. Its roots have a little bit of access. Make sure I get it in so that it's not bending its leaves. It's a tight squeeze. And then I'll put the lacanosa just kind of anywhere. Okay. Now we'll put him over here. Okay. Okay. And then I'm going to put a little bit of polyfill on top just so that they don't shake all over the place. Just an open a box of dirt and the Hoyas don't end up all bruised. Not much, really, just to take up some spare space. But I want them to breathe. It looks like more than it is, but I extra fluffed it so it's taking up room without suffocating them. And they're like that, and then got a little bit of tape for this so that it doesn't bust open. Can see the roots on the David Kamingii right there. It's a fun Hoya to grow if you just like a challenge. You just want something to say, I did it, I kept it alive for 6 whole months. Or I'm on my 4th time rerooting David Kamingii. You know, and it has beautiful blooms, and the new growth is really pretty. It has nice dark margins. It's a cool Hoya. So I recommend it. It's a pain in the butt. Okay, so there's that. So we got this, and we are ready to pack the box. I do not have a mailing label printed yet. I normally do that first, but I didn't this time because I wasn't 100% sure everything was gonna fit, and I thought I might end up upsizing the boxes, so we'll find out. So here is the box. I'm gonna lay the big guy in there first, right in the center, and I don't know if that's gonna get taped in there yet either, so it just depends on how tightly everything gets put in there. So that goes in here. We'll go back to basics here. So that goes in first. Then we've got our little box of cuttings down by the bottom, and then I've got some. Let's see where to stick the card. There it is. Little card will go on top. Let's see, I'm going to use a piece of tape to secure a couple of little fun things. Let's see if this can fit safely up here. Yeah. Told you it wasn't going to be professional. Just putting some little wooden name tags up on the side here. And okay, so the cuttings hold this in really tight, really tightly, and then what I'll do is I'm gonna go and get some of those I'll see what I have from one of my last shipments, and I will ideally not use the Amazon bubbles this time of year, but they're fine. I'll find some of those little not actually styrofoam type noodles and put some of those in here. This cannot move, but just to keep it from sliding around, and then I'll place the card right on top, and then it'll be closed back up. I can put a piece of tape over this, but with those little noodles it won't be able to move forward at all. And this is so tightly wedged in here already anyways. And there's one more little thing that I'm gonna put in here, but it's just a small little thing that is not Hoya related, but I'll show you. I can like put my hand here just in case, because I'm nervous, but it's tight. So there is that, cuttings and rooted Hoya all wrapped up, and yeah, that's it. Okay, thank you for watching. I feel the need to apologize profusely for how rough that was, but if you have any questions, please ask anytime, and any one of us will be happy to walk you through it. I know that Andy and Kelsey and Robin all have lots of great tips, and lots of our members are really experienced shippers, and I've received some beautiful packages from several of them. So I hope you all have a lot of fun doing this swap. I know that I will, and I'm looking forward to it greatly. All right, bye guys.